Oh my gosh. What's up, y'all? I haven't been live on Instagram in so long. I'm tapped, y'all. What's up? What's up, guys? What's up, Yana? Okay, y'all. So, I haven't been live on here in a long time, but I got some information to share with y'all. But I do have a visitor who's going to come with me. So, we'll wait for him to get in here. How's LSU? It's amazing. I'm having a great time. Having a great time. Okay, here we go. Thank you. How's preseason? It's good. It's hard, but I've been having fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like, hooping is fun again. I'm just out here just having fun. Them 6 a.m. workouts was crazy, though. I can't lie to you. Been playing basketball my whole entire life. Literally my entire life. Since the overtime show, I know. I can't answer that for y'all because the season is not started yet. What I do today, I'm already 3 workouts deep. Well, yeah. Win a basketball ring. Period. I'm trying to see. Sorry, y'all. I'm waiting for my guest. Sleeve up clothes. I have a jacket on. Okay, there we go.
Hey
What's
there.
up? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for including me. I think you have way more Instagram followers than I have. So
Actually, you got me beat.
do I? How many
You
do I
got me
have?
beat. I don't know, more than me.
More than you. All right. So how are you? Do you think you've already done 3 workouts today?
Yes, I'm 3 workouts in already.
Oh my gosh. Was it okay that we're talking because I'm a UConn fan? Is that like?
It's fine, I guess, but we do play UConn this year, so
Where's that game? Where's that game? Is
I
it?
want to say Nashville.
Yeah, it's a neutral site.
Yep. So you might
Yeah,
have to come.
I might. I
You
might.
might have to
So.
come.
Well, I appreciate you letting me join you. I've been, a fan of not only your play on the court, but a fan of your willingness to speak out on behalf of student athletes. And I think, we wanted to get together today because, we're considering legislation right now in the United States Senate. By the way, hello, everybody. I'm Chris Murphy. I'm a United States Senator from Connecticut. And I've been kind of one of the primary voices for athletes as we've been debating college sports reform legislation. And, I get it. The existing system is crazy, and you can talk to me about how crazy it is you get these endorsement deals instead of, an actual share of the money that comes to the universities. But I just don't want to do anything that's going to harm students. And I know you've been a really active voice around, student athletes being able to organize and speak for themselves. And this bill that we're contemplating voting on this summer would definitely make it harder for students to organize. And I just really wanted to come on with you and have you talk a little bit to me and to some of my followers who are joining us about, what's going on right now in college sports, especially in women's basketball, and how important it is to, not take away the power of student athletes to be able to speak for themselves when it comes to compensation.
Absolutely. But before we start anything, I want to introduce myself to your side as well. I'm Jada
Yeah.
Williams. I'm a women's basketball player at LSU. I originally started my career at Arizona, and then I transferred to Iowa State. And then now I'm here. So I've been able to utilize my resources and kind of get to the place where I needed to be. But I'm super grateful for you, and I think I kind of speak on behalf of all women's basketball and college athletes in general, just for everything you've done and all the time and effort you put in to help us. And you're really the only one standing up for us, which is, we are very, very grateful. So I wanted to give your praise for that. But yeah, from my point of view, to kind of give, I know we probably have some younger people on there as well. Basically, there's a bill that NCAA is working to pass through Congress, called the Protect College Sports Act. Basically, they're trying to take away a lot of our power. And I think, from being somebody who has kind of been through a lot within the college basketball system, I think taking away our power would be, honestly, I'm disrespected because we're grown. People are expecting us to perform at the same level as professional athletes, with less power. And so for me, speaking for everybody else, I think the NCAA, their system and their structure is amateur, and I think we should be treated like professional athletes. They shouldn't be able to take away our rights or do anything. I think the baseline for us is, like, we all are on the same page with, we need structure. Like, structure is needed. But we shouldn't allow Congress to be the ones to decide who makes those rules. I think, from us and all the people who are pro unionization, we should have a seat at that table. We shouldn't have to take the passenger seat to the whole lifestyle that we do it every single day. We're in the gym, we're doing our study hall, we're doing these things every single day, and this is a job. Like, we work. This is the same thing that everybody else has. So it doesn't make sense for the coaches to be able to leave and do whatever. If they're stuck in a bad situation or they have a better opportunity, they can go wherever. But with us, we get trapped in we get trapped in bad situations, and they're trying to limit basically all the power that we have. And so I'm very grateful to be able to use my platform and voice. I'm very passionate about this because I am in a position where not even just me, everybody would be taking pay cuts for the things that are in this bill. So
Well, one of the things I think it'd be interesting for my folks to hear more about is, one of the arguments the NCAA makes is that, this isn't professional sports, right? This is amateur sports. But I know enough about, the basketball program at UConn, I'm from Connecticut, to know that there doesn't seem to be much of a difference between high level collegiate sports and the pros. Frankly, the football stadiums are bigger for college than they are in the pros. I'd just be interested, because you're going to be playing in the WNBA, so you know what that life is like. But to say a little bit more about how, this level of sports isn't really any different than the professional level. This is really, you're a professional. You're just not getting paid like a professional.
yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how much time we actually put into this craft. Like, this is our actual job.
Right.
I was telling some recruits earlier, like, they're like, "What are you doing for the rest of the day?" I'm like, "Oh, I still have 2 more workouts left." It's summer workouts. Our full team isn't even here yet, and we're in the gym, in the facility, for 7 hours a day, which that's a regular job. Like, we're putting our whole heart and our pride, like, we're doing all the things that professional athletes do on top of school. We're doing the same amount of work. Like, obviously, pro level is, you go up a level in competition and stuff, but we're putting in the same amount of work. So it's disrespectful for them to try to treat us like amateurs. Honestly, we have powerful voices, we have opinions, we have the same thing. So we're not saying, like, we're not asking for just freedom on everything, but we're asking to have a seat at the table. Like, we should be able to negotiate those things the same way professional athletes have their unions and they have their CBAs, but we're not allowed to have that. So I think that's the solution, honestly.
Yeah, and so this bill we're talking about would make it really hard for players to be able to unionize, to join together. And that's how every other major sports league handles it, right? They don't have Congress come in and micromanage the relationship, how much money you can make, how much money you can make. In every other sport, it's the players have an association and they negotiate with the league for salary structure, for work rules. One of the things that the NCAA says is, well, these are kids. They're not able to negotiate on for themselves. That's too much to expect of them. But we're talking about high level athletes here, right? You don't have any doubt that if you were given the ability to speak for yourself, to have a college players association, you don't have any doubt that you guys would be able to effectively speak for student athletes, right?
None at all. I think even in the works now, the groups that we talk to and the small group that we have right now, and a very, very powerful group, not going to give any other details than that, but we do this. Like, this is what we do for a living.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, like even a lot of college athletes, don't know about the bill. So I think if everybody knew what this bill was saying, basically, and there's 111 pages, mind you, and there's no Title IX at all. There's no mention of Title IX. So it's like, what really are you guys trying to do? And they're really putting us in a box, and they're not allowing us. So whenever they are basically saying that we're amateurs, right? What's the difference? I want to know. I really want to speak from that side because they don't know what we go through every single day. Like, we have our 2 feet on the ground and we're living in that moment every single day, whether it's football, basketball, whatever the sport may be. We know what it's like. So for me, it's just like, why would I sit in the passenger seat and let somebody else decide our whole future and the future of these young 13, 14, the people that are the next generation? They'll never be able to have these opportunities because once something like this is passed, that's in writing. That's the law.
That's right.
That is, you can't, there's no changing that. So that's just kind of my side. I'm very honestly, like, I'm very passionate about it and I get very worked up because, like, we've worked so hard and they're just, everything that we got and we worked so hard for is just like they're reversing step after step after step and they're just slowly trying to take everything away that we worked so hard to gain.
I listen. It's funny. I'm not in your position. I'm not the one doing the 3-4 workouts a day, and I get passionate about this because I know how hard you work, and I think it's ridiculous that the NCAA is going to come in and pass a bill that's going to put a cap on your compensation in law. Like, they wouldn't do that for any other sport. They're going to say this is the limit that you can make. And here's the other thing. I'm just curious about it. There's some other provisions in this bill that are, for instance, there's going to be a whole new structure that you have to go through to get one of these endorsement deals approved. The NCAA is now going to be in charge of telling you what endorsement deals you can take and which ones you can't take. It's going to limit your right to transfer. Well, not limiting the rights of coaches to transfer, but it's going to eliminate your right to transfer. Like, what are your worries in a world where the NCAA gets to determine which endorsement deal you can get, and that you're limited in transfer rights, whereas coaches and athletic directors, none of them are limited?
Yeah. Speaking from somebody who has utilized the portal, speaking from experience, my first 2 years at Arizona were the worst 2 years of my life. Like, I wouldn't put that type of struggle on anybody, like, from a mental health standpoint. I'm going to be honest and kind of be vulnerable with everybody. Like, I wanted to quit basketball. I didn't want to play anymore. I wanted nothing to do with it. And it all came from the behind the scenes. Coaches lie, then you transfer, and then it's not exactly what they tell you a dream. They really, like, this dream is sold to you on this silver platter and you get there and it's so different. So being somebody who's lived through that and knowing a lot of people who have dealt with similar things or different type of things, being forced to play through injury and stuff, that gives those coaches too much power.
Mm-hmm.
What it would be is you get your transfer and then you get there, they know you can't transfer again, and then they can treat you however you want. And that's honestly my biggest worry because I've been at rock bottom. I've wanted to quit. I've had all the things that negatively affect you off the court, and then it starts to bleed onto the court. So giving the NCAA that much power and giving those coaches that much power, that is just like, I don't want any of the younger generation to have to go through that. So if I can do anything to stop that, I'm definitely going to do it, because like I said, we get in season, we're working 60 hours a week. We're doing the on top of the travel. You're getting on a plane every week, flying to wherever you have to go. So I don't know. I
I think
just
that's I think that's right. I mean, the idea that okay, you can transfer once, but once you transfer that first time, then the leverage is all on the coach's side, right? And so
absolutely
they don't have to worry about you leaving. And so if they don't make good on their promises, if they treat a player badly, that player is locked in. And yet those coaches can leave their contracts
leave
behind
whenever. Yeah, they don't have
whenever
no
they want.
salary cap. They can get paid however much a school wants to pay them, they can give it. They don't take pay cuts. They can treat you however. They can leave when they want. It just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
What do you think is the part of the bill that your followers maybe need to know a little bit more about? Obviously, I'm deep in the weeds of this legislation. And what do you think is something that people should know a little bit more about?
Yeah, I would definitely say the salary cap is definitely on there, because there's zero floor. So there's no floor, there's no rock bottom.
Yeah,
And then that would obviously lead to tons of pay cuts. Everybody would take pay cuts. And we're getting compensated for what we do. And this isn't just like, here, free money. Like, we're doing something. Like, you have to turn in your stuff to NIL Go, and you have to turn your deals in. It has to get approved. So it's not like people are just handing us free money. Like, we're actually putting in the work to do this. And on top of that, like, we're the ones who are playing the game.
right.
People are coming to see us play the game. So all of that money that people are paying to come see us, there is no way that a piece of that should not come to us. And there, yes, we need structure, but the salary cap is too low, way too low.
Somebody said to me the other day, they're like, somebody said, well, what you think it's okay that there are these, rich people that are helping students with endorsement deals? Shouldn't we get rid of that? And I said, okay, fine. Like you said, Jada, let's put some structure on it, but let's make sure that structure applies universally, right? That cap on endorsement deals or the approval process doesn't apply to coaches. The billionaires could give money straight to coaches. They could give money to the university to build a new big wing. The only restriction on this bill is how money flows to the athletes. That's the only group that this bill impacts. Doesn't impact the coaches, not the athletic directors, not the schools. They don't have to go through any approval process to accept money. And you said it. It's the players on the court that bring the fans. Yeah, some of it is due to school allegiance, but I mean, you guys are stars right now. You personally have hundreds of thousands of followers, right? People are coming to see you and coming to see individual players. And it's just crazy to me that the only people that would be limited in terms of who's getting, by the way, it's a multi-billion dollar industry, right?
Yeah.
Only people that are being limited are the players.
Yeah, and I think that's why we don't give the NCAA a bailout with the antitrust exemption. I think that automatically just, it blocks our whole path to any unionization. And we would never be able to get the CBA. We would never do any of that. So why would they negotiate what our salary cap should be without us? That doesn't make sense.
So can I just like underline this for people that might not know what we're talking about? What is an antitrust exemption? So basically, we say to businesses in any industry, you can't illegally collude with each other to keep your workers' wages down, right? Like McDonald's can't go to Burger King and say, hey, let's just agree to not pay our workers more than $15 an hour. That's illegal, okay? Now, the NCAA is doing that, right? The NCAA is doing that because the NCAA has just decided we are not going to negotiate with students. We're all going to agree. None of us pay our students directly. We're going to not recognize any union. We all agree on that. That's illegal. And the Supreme Court basically said that it's illegal. And so what the NCAA wants in this bill is an exemption from the laws that stop businesses from colluding with each other to keep wages down. And the bill includes that exemption. So like no other billion-dollar industry is going to have this exemption from these laws that stop you from keeping worker salaries down, except for the NCAA. And I don't know. I mean, I know this is a tricky issue, Jada, but I kind of want to bring it up. I mean, it isn't lost on me that most of these high value players are black, and most of the coaches and the CEOs of the big sports industries are white. And like, I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but it's like, it's a reality. It's a
Yeah,
reality. And it's like, I don't think you can hide that from the conversation.
absolutely. I think coming from a black female, like, it's downplayed a lot. Like, we don't get the respect we deserve. Black athletes in general, everything is downplayed. Your star athletes, mostly black, and it's just like you don't hide from that fact. Like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's facts. So yeah, I agree. I also agree with that. Why I know why I think players should and athletes should unionize. Why do you think?
Yeah, ultimately, I think that that's actually the best outcome for college sports. Like you said at the beginning, that you agree that there's got to be some structure, but I don't want Congress to impose that structure. I mean, Congress doesn't set the wages for any industry, so why would we do that for college sports? We we should stay out of this and just say the students should organize together. They should have a players association, just like the pros have a players association. And then the student athletes negotiate their deal with either the NCAA or their conference. And like you said, you made a great point before. Once it's in statute, it's not changing. Like, it's really hard to change a law. It's not hard to change an agreement between a players union and a conference or the NCAA, because that comes up, for renewal every few years. And so the sport's going to change. Your needs are going to change. The university's needs are going to change. I don't want you to have to come to Congress every time that you want to change in the rules. It's not nimble. It takes your power away. And it also, in the end, just becomes a big bureaucratic nightmare. So those are the reasons why. And I love college sports. I want to save college sports. And I think the best way to save it is to empower students.
Yeah, I agree. I also think it's important to note, like, this isn't something that people are like, we need you guys to do this. We're hungry for it. We want to be at the table. We want to negotiate. We want to do those things because we know that however we walk now is what the next generation is going to have to go through. So we're going to fight and claw because it significantly impacts every aspect of our life because this is our whole entire life. So
One of the things the NCAA says is, okay, well, if the student athletes organize, they'd be greedy and they'd take, so much money that we couldn't run, the tennis teams, we couldn't run the volleyball teams anymore. But you guys you're athletes, but you're also on those campuses. You want the entire campus athletic life to thrive. You just want what's owed to you, right? So there's no fear here that ultimately you're gonna collective bargaining is going to lead to all these other sports not having resources, right?
absolutely. I think that is like them trying to target the sports that don't have all of the stuff like the footballs and the basketballs, but that we're not saying we want to take everything away from them and give it all to us. And we're also not saying we should be paid money that we don't deserve. This is the money that we are helping the school bring in and the deals that we would get by ourselves from our own name, image, and likeness that should not be negotiated by anybody but us. I think it all just goes back to needing a union and we need a CBA. We need to negotiate a CBA. What honestly, like, what advice would you give us as the athletes, and what route would you take?
Well, I mean, it's sort of funny to give advice to you because I just advise everybody else to speak up. I think it's really important when athletes speak for themselves. Often we have people speaking for you here in Congress. So I just wish more student athletes would speak up and say what you say, which is that we don't want an unfair piece of the pie. We just want, our share of the massive billions of dollars in revenue. So I just think more and more students have to speak up. So I got to jump down to the Senate floor, but really a privilege to join with you today and like just take it easy on our Huskies next season. All right, like
I appreciate you. It was great talking to you. I hope the audience kind of got to learn a little bit because I know a lot of this stuff does happen behind closed doors, and even the college athletes themselves aren't necessarily caught up with all of the stuff that goes on. But I'm very grateful for you and everything that you do for college athletes and the voice that in the stance that you've taken. It's definitely doesn't go unnoticed.
Well, right back at you, Jada. You've been such a important voice, and I hope that others follow your model. We have a chance to do this right rather than do this quick and wrong, and just keep on speaking up. So thanks for having me.
For sure. Hope to see you at the UConn versus LSU game.
All right, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to check out the date.
Thank you.